Before we begin the video, I would like to give a big shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters: Brianna, Dream Maniacs, Sugar Dog, Infinite Ginger, Rerekura Matamua, The Rixon, Michael Foster, Ethan Bergeron, Joe, Luis Longo, Dave Moore, and Caio Escamillo. Thank you very much for your support. And if you wish to support us on Patreon, feel free to click the link below in the description to find out more. I'll see you there.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Okay, so today we're going to be watching Game Theory. Wait. Five Nights at Freddy's. Wait! I know there's a lot of controversy around Game Theory. When is there not? And I know that there's a lot of...
Well, that's because he gives totally bunk theories that have nothing to back them up.
Which one did he do that on?
Phoenix Wright.
He admits fault.
He made a theory on Phoenix Wright.
Yeah,
so we're
he
saying
admits
Phoenix Wright is
fault.
actually a criminal, but if you actually play the games, the openers of the game explain why everything he's doing is like everything that he's making all of the shit up that he's trying to give as his like basis for his theory, basically.
He has gone on to admit his earlier theories, Phoenix Wright and the Mario is a sociopath one, being not
I don't
very
think
good
Phoenix
theories.
Wright was earlier.
You kidding me? Dude, that's one of his first big ones. Let's look and see.
I have not seen any of this. So.
Game Theory, Phoenix Wright, 3 years ago, dude. 3 years ago. That's around the time where he first started getting big. He admits that his earlier ones don't really exhibit a lot of theoretical validity. He accepts that. That one, the Mario is a sociopath. The Sans is Ness theory that he came out with. You know, who is gas. He has gone through the ringer on these.
That's 4 years ago is when I actually heard of him. So I'd heard of him about a year before he released that Phoenix Wright theory. That's why I didn't feel like it was an older one, I guess.
That happens.
It's like I saw him when he did his first Five Nights at Freddy's. When his Five Nights at Freddy's 2 one was 4 years ago. So.
Yeah, but even so, he admits fault with a lot of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, ballsy enough for him to do that. Plus, truth be told, I mean, like I said, I don't hate the guy. I mean, he's got a likable enough personality, and I find his videos entertaining pretty much every time. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that point out bullshit, and they have the right to. But at the same time, I mean, when the man admits to fault, I went through a ringer, like a good hour-long conversation with someone. So yeah, there's worse stuff out there. That's all I'm going to say about that. But honestly, his FNAF theories, Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah, I think everyone in this room is aware of Five Nights at Freddy's in some capacity, right?
I'm guilty.
Whoa,
I
really?
have no idea what Five Nights at Freddy's is.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
so
Shit.
quick synopsis.
I've heard of it, and I've seen the little character before and like cosplay stuff.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I have no idea what that is.
So here's the ringer with Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's is pretty much a Chuck E. Cheese style pizzeria restaurant.
But it's like a horror.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
Horror.
It's basically a jump scare machine.
Yeah.
That's it. And basically you're an
It's like, unless you have some sort of like pretty much underlying like fear of like I guess animatronic or
and like
you know,
I see the
similar
spook
stuff.
factor.
It's not
I
very
see,
scary.
like
Well-
the spook factor, but is it a game? Is it a movie
yes.
show?
Well, it's okay. Here's what it is. It's basically a point and click adventure game from a first person perspective where your character cannot move at all.
So there's not really any adventure to it.
There's not really any adventure to it. However, you are in the first game. Actually, the first two games, you're a security guard at a restaurant who is tasked with overnight looking after this restaurant and trying to prevent bad things from happening. But they leave the animatronics on, which are these Chuck E. Cheese style characters, Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Bonnie, and various others throughout the series. But overall, the big thing is whenever they come up to you, you have to shut the door. It's power management. Okay. There's a power meter. It starts out at 100, but everything that you use, from the lights to the doors being closed to the monitors and everything like that, use power. Now, you have to allocate your power usage in order to survive all 5 nights at Freddy's, plus an extra 2 nights, which are like the overtime, which is just like the overtime nights. And once you survive the entire week, you you effectively win the game. Yeah. Same thing in 5 Nights at Freddy's 2 and 5 Nights at Freddy's 3. And then 4, it changes it up a little bit, whereas you turn into a kid. You're a kid in a room, pretty much staving off a nightmare, which are the nightmare versions of these animatronics coming after you, and you actually run around your room and lock the doors and all that. And you go to the closet, and you pretty much close the closet door whenever one of them's coming through the vent in the closet.
Yeah, so definitely kind of like a children's horror, stuff that would scare kids.
That's mainly cool. What it's been about. And
Chuck E. Cheese and everything, like the little animatronics, I could definitely see that being spooky if that was,
Well, and there's also a huge lore behind it, which MatPat has gone through exhaustively to try and decipher. And Scott Cawthon, the creator of the games, has actually gone to tell MatPat close, very close, but not saying really anything else. Anyway, 5 Nights at Freddy's went through multiple iterations and multiple ways of playing the game, and recently the format got tired, effectively. But here recently, Scott released 5 Nights at Freddy's VR, Help Wanted, and now they're seeing it as a new launch-off point for a different way to play the game in VR.
That sounds really fun.
Everything's
scarier in VR.
Well, yeah, that's
what I told Nate is I would actually maybe try it on stream because people have wanted me to play it on stream, and I'm just kind of like, I tried it on my phone and I kind of hated it. But
on VR, it's a different world.
Yeah, on VR, like I actually might have some fun with it. Because it might be immersive enough for me to be like, oh!
But overall, this game gained a whole immense amount of popularity because YouTube Let's Players played it and got jump scared by it. Especially names like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, multitudes of others played the game and got scared by it. And it just grew from there. And Scott Cawthon, in turn, got a huge franchise on his hands, which now, as far as I know, includes a movie, which I don't know when the hell that's coming out. I don't know if it's ever coming out. But MatPat has officially played through 5 Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, and he came up with a new video called FNAF Just Got a Reboot. And he's got it here, and plus, where this is October, Halloween, we figured, hey, might as well watch a horror-based game theory, so let's see what's up.
Ready to have your mind blown by FNAF yet again? Let's do a little trick, shall we? I'm in the process of currently downloading and installing brand new copies of each and every one of the FNAF games, so you all know that we're working with a blank slate here. But the games that we're specifically interested in are FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night. The free ones. Huzzah for not having to buy these games for literally like the 4th time. Let me just open up both of these on the computer to show you that we are working with absolutely clean and fresh copies of both these games. Open up FNAF World. The first time that we open this, we should get that cutscene of the 2 yellow beady eyes telling us that something has happened out in the world. There it is. We're just gonna wait here a second while that dramatically plays. We hit start, and you can see here, literally nothing on screen, right? We have slots 1, 2, and 3, all empty, no trophies along the bottom. And that's the important point here, right? Each time you beat the game, you get a different trophy along the bottom based on what ending you got. So notice 0 trophies, 0 endings, 0 gameplay. Okay, so we're gonna X out of that as well. Fantastic. Hopping on over to Ultimate Custom Night, there is no high scores unlocked. We have no power-ups that have been given to us. Our office is the default office. nothing, right? No creepy cutscenes of Toy Chica in her skimpy school uniform. Nothing. We are clean to go. Nada. Now, let me set the scene for you, right? If you think back to the release of Ultimate Custom Night, we were all really excited to see who would be included in this mega list of who's who in the FNAF universe. This big final game to celebrate the ending of the series, burning things to the ground at the end of FNAF 6. Some of the inclusions were obvious, right? Like the 70+ versions of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Springtrap, Golden Freddy, and the Puppet, right? They're in practically every game, they're super important to the lore of the games, no big surprises there. But then, when the roster kept expanding, you got to some weird inclusions, right? You got yourself Music Man over here. Why? El Chip, which is basically just a glorified reference to like one of his failed games before Five Nights at Freddy's. Strange, sapient pile of garbage over here. Like, not people that you would immediately think of as being included in the like must-have list of characters in this franchise. But of them all, there was one inclusion that felt the strangest of all to me. This one right here. Old Man Consequences from FNAF World. A character who, if you're not super familiar with that particular game, is your punishment for going too deep into the code of the game. You see, FNAF World is a video game that's aware that it's a game, right? And throughout the adventure, you repeatedly have to dive into these glitches to unlock new parts of the world. But you're repeatedly warned against going more than 3 layers deep into those glitches, otherwise you're gonna be trapped there forever. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happens if you don't heed the warnings. You wind up at Old Man Consequences Lake, trapped. What makes it so weird to see him here, though, in Ultimate Custom Night, is that FNAF World is a game that Scott has largely disowned. He's embarrassed of it. And it's a game that's ultimately been dismissed by the fan base as non-canon, in part because of those reasons, but also in part because it seems more closely tied to the book lore than it is to the game lore. And yet, here he is. Old Man Consequences in Ultimate Custom Night, alongside characters that are definitely canonical in a game that is also canonical, right? It has the canonical ending of William Afton suffering eternal torment at the hands of Golden Freddy. It's almost like Scott Cawthon is telling us that Old Man Consequences is implicitly canonical. He's canonical by association. So, why do I bring all this up? Well, there's an Easter egg in Custom Night that you've probably seen back when people were playing that game, right? You set Old Man Consequences to a difficulty level of 1, and you start your night. Gonna turn off the fan, and here we sit. There's no one here to attack us outside of Old Man Consequences, so hopefully he shows up. Oh, and here's Dee Dee, who has, by proxy of doing this, ruined our opportunity to unlock this Easter egg, so we're going to restart. Please Alt for this game. We're gonna try again. Reset the ventilation, thank you. Oh, there is. Boom. Good. So now, here we go, right? We're falling, quote unquote, falling through the source code of the game. We wind up here. This is Old Man Consequences Lake, right? You may have seen this Easter egg during people's gameplays, but here we go. We go to Old Man Consequences over here, and he gives us his line. Come and sit with me a while. Leave the demon to his demons. Rest your soul. There's nothing else. We concluded in one of our past theories about Ultimate Custom Night that this is Old Man Consequences talking to the vengeful spirit that exists inside Golden Freddy, trying to tell him, hey dude, chill out, move on with your afterlife. Just let William Afton suffer on his own. Because if you listen to the audio that's playing in the background of this scene, you can definitely hear him suffering. Well, it's either his tormented screams or, you know, Scott Cawthon shouting through a fan. Now, most people seeing this Easter egg would be like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I guess I gotta restart the game. Alt F4. And already this would be a really cool, really elaborate Easter egg. However, for those of us who have played through and know FNAF World better than we probably should, we know that there is one final thing that you can do in this scene, right? You can move on over to the top of the lake and you can drown yourself. Now, in that game, when you did this, it would actually reveal a secret ending that is completely hidden from that game's texture files. It shows a person standing alongside 2 smaller figures in front of this flashing TV screen. It's a parent and their 2 kids, or at least that's as much as I can make of it, right? And sure enough, you can actually do the same thing here in Ultimate Custom Night, going into the lake and drowning yourself. Except here, it ultimately crashes the game. I'm going deep into the lake. Uh-oh, I'm trapped in the water. Oh no! It's like quicksand. It's not so much a lake as it is quicksand, but here we go. We're going down into the lake, deeper, 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 and it crashes the game, right? We're back to the home screen. No hidden ending or Easter egg there. But here's where things get crazy. Instead of me booting up Ultimate Custom Night again, we're gonna hop back over to that brand new, fresh, clean copy of FNAF World that I showed you earlier. Here we go, FNAF World. We have not played this game whatsoever, and we hit start. Wouldn't you know it? Without playing a second of this game, look what suddenly appeared on our menu screen. A trophy that you unlock in FNAF World by visiting Old Man Consequence's lake. In other words, these two games, but more importantly, in the lore of this franchise, these two worlds are connected. Somehow. But what does all this mean? That, my friends, is our episode for today.
God damn, that was just the intro. Jesus. That was very long-winded for the intro.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the channel where it's always April considering the number of Easter egg hunts we go on. So, the connection between FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night was originally discovered by Reddit user Roxas Lucario, and it ultimately hinges on an info file that collects variable information from across the various games. For instance, the first time you start up FNAF World, you're presented with an opening cutscene.
Something went very wrong. That's why I'm here. I will put you back together.
Great, awesome. Go to the info page after seeing that creepy opening cutscene, and suddenly the trigger first is activated, presumably telling the game that you've seen that scene once before, so for all subsequent playthroughs, you don't have to see it again. That's how these sorts of variables work. But what's weird, though, is that the trigger for this drowned ending and unlocking the trophy is titled Beat Game 4, which might just mean it's the fourth ending of FNAF World, fine, but why then would Scott use that exact same variable name in Ultimate Custom Night? It's not like there's multiple endings in that game, and it's not like Ultimate Custom Night is the fourth game in the franchise. Him using that exact same variable name suggests that the connection between the two was very much intentional, and that, my friends, is just scratching the surface. Because this small but very, very important Easter egg starts laying the groundwork for where this series is ultimately headed moving forward. Where FNAF VR clearly left off, and where the new FNAF AR game, Special Delivery, releasing this October, is taking us next. Oh yeah, didn't you know? There's a new FNAF AR game and it's right around the corner. There's a trailer for it and everything. Because my torment is year-round and unceasing. Looks like we're gonna end up playing hide-and-seek with a bunch of animatronics, but more on that one in a minute. FNAF World was a game that was largely ignored by us theorists because, well, look at it.
You won't get tired of my voice, will you?
I'm not sure what
But in all seriousness, for all the memes lol this franchise has, it's never been particularly meta. The lore, on the whole, was its own self-contained story within this fictional universe. The only times things got truly meta was in FNAF World, which sure helped us to predict the appearance of Baby and Henry into the mainline games, but it was also the game where Scott Cawthon literally appears as the final boss, complaining about how sick he was of pumping out new games for our insatiable appetite for animatronic dad. Scott, you're our mama bird, my friend. Puke that sweet, sweet lore down into my gullet. But you can see why most of us would take this as a joke, right? Scott isn't a character in the FNAF universe, so it has to be just another game for the lols. Except now, Scott is a character in the games. As of FNAF VR, it's revealed to us that Scott, since the beginning, has played a critical role in the lore of the FNAF universe.
We know that Fazbear Entertainment has developed something of a bad reputation over the last few decades, and while it's true that some stories associated with our name were loosely based on actual events, the majority of them were total fabrications from the mind of a complete lunatic.
They lied to us.
That's
They
pretty
lied
good.
to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer who supposedly made up a bunch of crazy stories that tarnished the brand.
Don't have to tell me twice, that rogue indie developer is obviously Scott. That's just where it begins, because FNAF World was trying to tell us something else about where this franchise was headed. Video games crossing into the real world and vice versa. You see, FNAF World is a lot of things. A lot of things. But its main plot revolves around the aftermath of FNAF 4. We're told when we first boot up the game that something has happened out there in the real world, and it's having an effect in here, the sanctuary, the world of this particular game. From there, the rest of the game features a main quest that's completely hidden. You could go through this entire game and never come across the actual real plot of this thing. The only way that you would know about this is by accidentally lingering on the first dialogue boxes of the game, which in turn releases glitched 8-bit Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who we gonna call? Glitched 8-bit Fredbear. This, in turn, unlocks separate missions to find clocks, and it's here that we find our first instance of video game to real-life crossover. You see, each clock is a minigame that connects back to FNAF 3, and all the individual steps necessary to unlock the Happiest Day cutscene. That game's good and canonical ending. If you think way back to that game, it always bothered me that punching random blocks on a wall or double-clicking a random poster in your real-life security office was somehow allowing us to put the spirits of the dead children to rest. But FNAF World gave us an explanation even though we ignored it back at the time. FNAF World, the game world, or more accurately, the spirits that are trapped existing in that game's code, were able to push out and affect changes IRL through those clock minigames. That's how.
Okay, so no, you're a little bit confused about the dead children, William Afton, and all that. Here's the main synopsis of it. There was a tragic event that happened back in 1984 called the Bite of 84. In that, this kid had an older brother and his friends force him into the mouth of one of the animatronics, and one of the animatronics bit down and effectively, like, permanently brain damaged the kid. And from that happening, a whole chain of events happened, and there's someone named William Afton who's in this as well. William Afton was a security guard at Five Nights at Freddy's, or at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, who in turn actually killed 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
And he hid them by hiding their dead bodies inside of the animatronics.
Ooh, so it gives it an extra creep factor. That's
Yes.
cool.
And the souls of the kids apparently are what inhabit the
supernatural part of it?
Yeah, they inhabit the bodies of the animatronic suits. And from that, you actually get the outcome of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and 4. 3 being where the puppet, which apparently is the soul of the kid who got brain damaged, I think, he helps free the kids' souls from the animatronics. But William Afton still doesn't get caught until the 4th game, where we find out what exactly happened to William Afton. William Afton, as it turns out, hid inside of the Golden Freddy suit, but there was something that happened. The Golden Freddy suit has a spring trap system which snapped and trapped him inside of that suit and crushed him and killed him. Now, yeah, and that whole thing is just, that's basically that main part of that story.
Makes it a lot more scarier knowing it's actually got in-depth backstories.
Yeah.
So, what rating is this game, by the way?
Certain ones most of them are T for teen, but I think a few of them are M for mature. That's what I think.
That's
anyway.
really cool.
Oh yeah.
You get these kind of video gamey moments in what is otherwise a realistic, albeit haunted setting. Now, why is any of this important? Why are we talking about it now, so many years after these games were first released? Well, because it's only starting to matter now. It's exactly what we saw happen at the end of FNAF VR Help Wanted. That game established sentient code that was looking to escape from its video game prison.
It was just junk, circuit boards and things like that. Looked pretty old. Somehow, though, there was usable code on some of it. It seemed to take hold by itself. things started changing.
What I'm saying here is that in the official lore of the series, official lore that is apparently dating back further than we would have expected, computer code is somehow able to store the minds or spirits or whatever of these characters and eventually rebirth them out into the real world if the right steps are taken. See also Pet Scott. And in FNAF VR, we see an instance of this happening. William Afton, who was trapped in the circuit boards, was released into the code of this new game, Help Wanted, where he then took the form of Glitch Trap until finally, through us playing the game and collecting the tapes and putting the pieces back together, was able to escape again. But this time, he was able to escape not just from circuit boards, but out into the real world. All of it, all of this goes back to the story that FNAF World was trying to tell us years ago. The story that we all didn't take seriously because the final boss was literally an impervious rainbow.
Are you kidding me?
Come on!
What the... What?
I'm only just realizing it now, but Help Wanted is actually a cute and really brilliant name. I mean, we all thought it was help in terms of like a want ad, right? Help as a video game tester, which is the core premise of the game, but it's also Help Wanted. Glitch Trap wanted, heck, he needed our help in order to escape, so well done, Scott, good name. Just like Pizzeria Simulator riffs on the idea of simulator games, but really it's an empty box waiting as a trap to catch the final animatronics and burn them alive, or how Sister Location is all about a separate but related robotics business, but also about a key character's sister, maybe, question mark. Well done, Scott, well done. Slow
Still haven't figured that one out.
Now, you might be thinking, wow, malicious code, people trapped in video games? This sounds nothing like the original story that started off this whole franchise. And yeah, that's entirely the point. The old story of Five Nights at Freddy's was, at least in part, a complete lie.
They lied to us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer. But that's not true at all. Fazbear Entertainment hired the game developer. Those indie games were designed to conceal and make light of what happened. This isn't just an attempt to rebrand. It's an elaborate cover-up.
Let me rephrase what we just heard. Scott is one of the bad guys. Based on the lore in Help Wanted, he was hired on by Fazbear Entertainment to create the FNAF games, give us the spooky ghost stories that exist within them, and in turn distract us from the real truth. Distract us away from what Fazbear's goals really were. He was lying to us. If FNAF VR's tapes are to be believed, pretty much everything we know from the first 3, at least, but maybe even 4, 5, heck 6 games could all be thrown out as complete fabrications created by Scott Cawthon for the sole reason because he was paid off by Fazbear Entertainment. This thing, Glitch Trap, might not even be a recreation of someone named William Afton. Heck, William Afton might not even exist. Though, to be honest, he probably does since he's mentioned by name at the beginning of FNAF Sister Location, and FNAF VR seems to replicate his original crimes pretty darn closely. So I'm gonna assume that some of that is actually true. The long story short here is that FNAF VR, in making Scott part of the Fazbear cover-up, is the franchise's way of rebooting the story for the next generation, telling us that with FNAF VR, we're starting an entirely new lore. In disowning Scott's story as lies, it's explicitly telling us that everything we've known up to this point is wrong. It's a distraction. Instead, the real story, the story that's going to be told to us via the next generation of Five Nights at Freddy's games, is carrying forward the core themes and ideas that were first introduced to us back in FNAF World. A story of video games, code, all coming to life and crossing over into the real world. And funny enough, if we look back to FNAF World, it was trying to tell us the truth about this theme the entire time. As 8-Bit Glitch Bear tells us in that game, don't be deceived by the one pulling the strings. It's why Scott is technically the final boss of the game, but the true ending, the clock ending that unlocks the key Easter eggs from FNAF 3, it has nothing to do with him at all. It's entirely disconnected from why Scott is there. Again, the indie developer known as Scott Cawthon within the FNAF lore is trying to distract us away from the truth of what we should be doing in these games. And if you think I'm reading too much into this, think again. Scott is trying to clue us back into the importance of FNAF World. As many of you know, Scott has his website, scottgames.com, where there's always some new teaser image and stuff hidden in the source code. And on there right now is a a really cool teaser for the next FNAF game coming out in 2020. Clearly, by looking at it, it's a FNAF Stranger Things crossover, considering the 1980s era neon-themed mall straight out of season 3 of that show. But what's a little less well-known, though, is Scott's second site, FNAFworld.com, which has been dormant for a really long time. Dormant, at least until a month ago. You see, it was updated to have a big old number 58 smack dab in the middle of it. And when you brighten things up, because you always brighten things up when you're given something by Scott Cawthon, you see a bunch of funny reviews appear for whatever this new game is going to end up being. Now, the number 58 might seem like it's completely random, right? A weird, mysterious number, but it's actually not. It all goes back to, you guessed it, FNAF World. In that game, there's a playable demo for the latest unreleased FNAF game, Freddy in Space. That game's number, installment
57.
number
57.
Meaning that Scott's next project, or at least one of his next
See, like,
projects coming out
I
in a few
like
months,
these
is gonna
because
be
they
another
seem to make
wacky
more
minigame
sense
with
than like
lore
some of the ones,
connections,
some of the
potentially
other theories I've
hidden
seen.
in fact,
Five Nights
Yeah.
at Freddy's
FNAF
theories
57
always seem to
Freddy
make a
in
lot of
Space
sense the way he
is to be
explains
believed.
it.
As you play through it in FNAF World, the next installment is going to be titled Poopits in Space, which sounds completely dumb, but you saw those hidden reviews. They were not super positive about whatever
Are we a
FNAF
joke to
58
you?
is shaping up to be. And heck, you don't even have to take it from me. It is coming straight from Scott's own disembodied head floating in a jar from that game. Like I said, FNAF World is weird. And we are still not done. The idea of games and code, digital horrors crossing over into the real world is becoming more explicit in his other new game that he's working on. The one that we know is releasing this October. FNAF Special Delivery, an augmented reality title that, based on the trailer and the title, will have animatronics being dropped off into your house. Sure, the idea of using your phone to see the animatronics roaming around your home might just seem like a fun, quirky new way to play these sorts of games, but from a lore standpoint, you wouldn't be surprised if what this is actually doing is forwarding the core themes of the new direction for the story of these games. Deadly characters starting off as harmless pieces of code and then escaping out into the real world through your device. It's happened with Glitch Trap. By the nature of augmented reality, it's literally happening again in this game. Anyway, you slice it, the lines between reality and fiction
really cool
are getting
concept
blurry.
idea.
And it's Scott and FNAF World, of all things, that are serving as the bridge linking those two worlds. It all started coming to a head with FNAF VR, but starting this October, don't be surprised if this franchise, as we know it, really starts to change. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Me put up the subscribe button so you can click it and join the army of 12 million other loyal theorists out there just like you. Bet you can't click it and finish writing a comment about your favorite animatronic within 5 seconds of me counting. 5, 4, 3,
I'm not even gonna
2.
try.
And heck, if you're itching to see more reality-bending storytelling like in FNAF World, well then check out our ongoing analysis of Petscop, the online horror video game web series. The finale of this mystery just aired. I'm actually working on my analysis of it right now, and you can be all caught up for when those final episodes air. Oh, I forgot to say one, didn't I? Look, you did it! Congratulations! Now my work is complete. I fade away into the darkness for yet another week. I'll see you next time for Kindergarten.
Oh shit. Oh shit, dude. Kindergarten. Have you ever played that?
I watched Jacksepticeye play some of it.
Don't ask the janitor any fucking questions.
Oh, really? Okay.
Don't. If you ever play that game, leave the janitor alone.
Okay.
Holy hell. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that.
Like, especially considering, like, I mean, I know it's just a theory, but like, basically his theory is that the new game is a reboot and the lore of the series is going to be kind of separated going forward.
Yes.
If that is the case, then I actually am pretty interested to play the VR version because
it looks really cool. They kinda
that
make
version
it
looks like it might actually be scary to me, and B, the new lore sounds a lot more interesting to me than the previous lore. Previous lore was okay, like for like what it was okay in my opinion.
It was
like,
more for kids, which
but like this is actually like kind of like some meta shit that like I really kind of like, you know? Like, it's like Doki Doki. It's almost like dude played Doki Doki and was like, that's a good fucking idea. I'm going to do that with Five Nights, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that sounds good to me.
Yeah. So, sorry if you've not played Doki Doki, but it's fucking free and you should have played it by now if you're going to play it. I know I didn't play it until like a couple weeks ago, but I've just been putting it off forever, so I don't know. You might want to edit like a little card. It's like spoilers for Doki Doki right before I say that. Like,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That way I can hear it better or see it better.
Yeah.
So game theories. Okay, we sort of slacked off on game theories mainly because certain people didn't like watching them because of Mr. Matthew Patrick, or as they called them, Matthew Matrick. They didn't like their theories, and they honestly just also MatPat also rubbed people the wrong way a little bit earlier this year when he spoke about Etika. He didn't say anything bad about Etika. It's just he attributed Etika's death, which was a suicide, to cancel culture, in which considering the fact that Etika, I think it had more to do with depression than it did with cancel culture, but cancel culture wasn't helping.
I don't
think
either. That cancel culture had anything to do with that, because unless I missed some parts of the story behind it, because it sounded like he purposely got his own shit canceled.
He did.
And he did that because he was already
on his Twitch.
Yeah, and he did that because he was already in a bad spot, it seemed like, and he just continued to go downhill from there until that happened.
Yeah. And Etika seemed to be a decently well-mannered guy. I mean, in certain ways. I mean, he was extreme with a lot of stuff. But Etika was a YouTuber who earlier this year committed suicide. And it was very, very tragic, dude. It was because they didn't know where the hell he was or anything like that. No one had seen him, and the last thing he released, I think, was an apology video saying that he was sorry for disappointing everybody, but it wouldn't matter much longer. And then they found his phone and several things of his on I think it was on the Brooklyn Bridge, on the side of the Brooklyn Bridge. And then a few days later, they found his body washed up, and he was dead. So, I think Etika's message is more about the trials of depression than it is about cancel culture. Don't get me wrong; I despise cancel culture as much as anything, but attributing it, you can attribute it in some ways, but making it the main focal point, no.
It's a long stretch.
It is. It's quite the stretch. Not even Stretch Armstrong can stretch that far. Yeah. But overall, game theory, I've been through the ringer on with certain people. I respect game theory enough to understand, hey, he's not being fully serious with this. But then there's some that I just watch and I'm just like, this guy, he's literally just not taking this seriously at all. And if I don't find it funny or find it engaging, I don't watch it. But if there's some that I find funny and engaging, hell, the one that dealt with Maria, or the Peach is Dead theory, the Peach is Dead one. I liked it. It later was found out to be bullshit, but I still found it entertaining enough to where I was just
one of the ones that I watched that I really liked was Dark Souls 3, who actually is the character that you were playing as.
Yes.
And he took that extremely seriously, it sounded like, and he actually did research on it, and it sounded like, and went through and was stating a lot of things that are in the game, and a lot of the lore bits and stuff, you know. And when he came up with the actual theory for who it was, I was like, that's so bitchin', I'm making that character right now. I was like, that's a good fucking idea. I really like that. I like that whole idea. It's basically, he came down to there are these two characters in the game, and I actually can't remember the names of them now, but they're each part of this, essentially this almost kind of Three Musketeers type group. There was three of them, apparently, and you only ever see who two of them are in the game and see their spirits. You're the third one.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm getting that guy's swords, I'm getting the hat, and I was like, I'm making this character. And basically, me and Andrew at that point had played through the game so many times that we had all that shit, and we would give the shit to the other person, make a new character, and they would come over to our game and give the stuff to us so we could, start the game with the build we wanted, with whatever we wanted to do.
That's wicked. I like that.
Yeah, so I started that character and played through the game as it because I thought his theory was so cool on that one. So I'll give him that one at least. That was really awesome.
Yeah, and Pat and Matthew and MatPat has come out and said that over time he has learned to take things more seriously. And he's not going to throw theories out there just for the hell of it, just to be entertaining and just for clicks anymore. Which, actually, this is personally why I like his film theory videos better, because he actually goes through film theories. Like, for instance, he broke down The Martian, the movie The Martian, and he broke down how, logically, it's 100% possible everything that they did in that film. Everything.
Yeah, I've also seen the entire board of directors at NASA, SpaceX, and biggest planetariums in the world said that there was a bunch of stuff in there that's not possible yet.
Well, not possible yet, but still feasible within the laws of physics as we understand them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the whole thing with even Neil deGrasse Tyson tore the movie apart.
Yeah.
With certain things that he said, but overall, in terms of the survival aspect of it, the survival aspect of it is 100% possible, because it is definitely possible for you to fertilize and grow potatoes on a planet like Mars. The soil is fertile enough.
Though. There's no nutrition whatsoever.
Well, there's not enough nutrition just with potatoes.
Well, no, I'm talking about like in the soil, because I mean it's.
Well, that's why you
ionized
fertilize
dirt.
it.
Yeah.
That's why you fertilize it.
You can't fertilize iron. Whether there's iron in the sand or dirt or anything like that, iron is an element killer. It can't break down.
Well, that's why they
it's also
tested.
a star killer too.
No, that's why they also tested the soil, because throughout the film, in the beginning, they're testing the soil whether or not it has high iron concentrate. If it has high iron concentrate, they don't use it.
Yeah, lead or any of the metals.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Where the rotation of that planet is at different speeds, you get crystallized dust right over, and basically, if you was to swallow some of that, it would kill you.
Yes.
I mean, it's some of the water there, they were talking about getting the water extract from it, from the frozen ice. And, it's going to have to be a hell of a process to get a lot of those minerals out, too. Of course, that's all possible. Now, I think the communications and everything else on The Martian was absolutely awesome.
Yes.
When it comes to basically survival and stuff like that, chances of survival would have been super slim anyway. Of course, that's what the movie was about, too.
Well, he was the botanist, and he knows how to grow stuff and what works in soil and what doesn't.
It makes you question, and it opens up questions and ideas and possibilities, and that's what's really cool about it.
Yeah.
Because science fiction is pretty much future science possibilities.
Well, most of the time.
I mean, Make Me Up, Scotty don't work. But.
No.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, too, is I watched his film theories long before I saw his game theories.
Yeah.
And, he always seemed to take his film theories a lot more seriously than when he started the game theories.
And there's been a lot less scrutiny over his film theories.
Yeah, I like a lot more of them than I do the games.
And that's one reason why, in some ways, I like film theory a lot better than game theory. Although game theory is more popular because of the Five Nights at Freddy's theories, also his Undertale theories as well. But mainly, I still prefer the film theories, because to me they seem to have a lot more thought and a lot more passion put behind them.
Yeah, I like film theories on quite a few different things.
Yeah, but overall, man, I mean, I have no problems with Matt Pat. I really don't. I mean, the guy's human. I mean, if you want to be held responsible for all the bad shit you've done in your life and not be judged for it, then honestly, more power to you. But hell, I've done dumb shit and I own up to it. But at the same time, I'm not going to apologize for doing what I do. I mean, there's people out there. I actually had a guy the other day comment on one of our videos, stated that these guys are the epitome of pathetic and sadness, and I hope they all kill themselves. No, really.
Keep hoping, asshole.
No, and I was just like, I actually commented back. I'm like, what makes you say that? Why would you say that? And he was just like, I just don't understand the appeal of reaction channels. And I said, then why are you watching?
Why are you watching it?
Right.
And then he was like, just because it keeps coming up as recommended and this and that. And I'm like, then avoid us. No. He wasn't subscribed. I was like, then click avoid. It's very easy to do. If they keep coming up in your recommendeds, all you do is you go over to the little dot thing over on the top right hand of each individual section, and you click that, and you click avoid, and that's it. And you'll avoid us for the rest of your life. And I was just like, why don't you do that? Why would you do that instead of writing a comment on here as
saying
devoid as
stuff
that,
like that.
as devoid of of any compassion whatsoever. I understand if you don't like the kind of stuff that we do. I understand that. I mean, there's plenty of people out there who do stuff on YouTube that I don't like. For instance, I don't like Superwoman. I don't like Liza Koshy. I used to love H3H3, but now I think H3H3 has just become a little bit pretentious. I used to love Rooster Teeth, but I don't as much anymore. I used to love Achievement Hunter. I still do love Achievement Hunter. I'm not going to lie. I still watch their Let's Plays a lot, but I don't like them as much as I used to. And I'm not going to tell them that I find their shit uninteresting and they should all kill themselves.
Yeah,
like, why would I go through that level? I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's heads sometimes.
I have an easy answer for you because some people are fucking assholes and they need to go eat a dick.
Well, there is that.
Yep.
I'm not going to pretend that's not
I agree with him.
Yeah. But at the same time,
because like, see, the answer to someone telling me to go kill myself is like, go fuck yourself. Like,
well,
I'm not giving you the fucking satisfaction of ending my own life, so you can just fucking keep dreaming on
I
that,
will
buddy.
sit. Yeah. For you,
May my
I can
enemies
imagine
live
your
long,
response-
so they may see me progress.
Actually, you know what I would do? I would live stream myself, literally just sitting there, and the title of the live stream would be "Still Alive." And and instead of like writing anything back to that guy, I'd just send him a link to that live stream. And I'd just be like, "Are you here yet? There you are. I'm still here.
I'm waiting on you.
Still here." And I'd make it unlisted too, so I would know if it was him. I'd make it unlisted. Yeah. I'd send it directly to him, and then whenever he tuned into it and you saw that one appear up there and concurrent viewers, you'd just be like, "Hey, buddy, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm gonna continue to be here."
Yeah. And he'd write a comment saying, "Go fuck yourself." It's like, you first. I'm still alive, and I'm not going anywhere. There you go. But overall, man,
it's like that dude I pissed off so bad that one time. He was like, stop commenting back like you're better than me. And I was like, I am better than you. He's like, like he freaked the fuck out. And I just kept being like, oh well, I'm better than you, bro.
Saying satire or anything like that. So you could just say anything and people just flip out.
It's just like once I picked up on the fact that it bothered him so much, I just kept saying it to him, and he eventually just would like fucked off somewhere. It was great.
Yeah, and I'm better than you. That's instead of stronger than you. I'm better than you. Anything you can do, I can do better. Yeah. All right. So, Game Theory, FNAF, just got a reboot. FNAF VR Help Wanted. He's interested in playing it.
I'm interested in playing it.
Yeah,
I've never played a single one.
If you guys want to see me play this before the end of this month or something, then let us know in the comments. Maybe Nate will buy it so I can play it because I don't have enough money to get it right now.
We'll see. We will see. I'd be up for it. So we're actually going to be doing a live stream this upcoming week. Or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. Sorry, 2 weeks from now we will be doing a live stream. Or
by we, he means not me. He means
well,
you'll be
there. You'll be there on Tuesday. You'll be there for Tuesday whenever we
Tuesday's
do the
the
live
podcast.
Stream. Yeah, when we do the podcast.
Yeah.
But we will be doing a live stream where it will be predominantly me playing through the Exorcist VR, and it'll be Jacob and Roan watching as I shit myself.
We're also going to have Roan play through Shattered Lights real quick because it's short. So.
Yeah, we're going to have Roan play through that just to see what he thinks.
Yeah, reacts to it.
Yeah. So, anyway, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all very much for suggesting this. This was the Game Theory Five Nights at Freddy's. Just got a reboot. Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted. And I guess that's going to do it. So, until next time, everybody, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Jacob.
And we will see you all in the next one. Peace out.